Welcome to Eat the Bible, the world's fastest chapter-by-chapter Bible study, powered by Revelation 10:10.
Okay, let's get started. Welcome to Eat the Bible, episode 16, the book of Nehemiah. Nehemiah is the sort of person you want to partner with. He is a doer. He gets things done. He doesn't like committees. He'll do things himself if he thinks the people can't be trusted. So Nehemiah has been living in exile in Persia along with 3 million other fellow Jews. He's so trustworthy, he serves as the king's wine taster. Nehemiah is about to do something so important, so monumental, the great Daniel 9 prophecy hinges upon Nehemiah's construction schedule. But before we unveil more divine wisdom, be sure to check this link. It provides everything you need to navigate the choppy waters of life. Okay, are you ready for another tasty meal? Let's eat Nehemiah. Nehemiah hears awful news. It's been almost 100 years since his Jewish relatives returned home to Jerusalem, and yet their walls still lie in ruins. Their open border has created the predictable despair and discouragement and dissolution of culture. I sat down and wept and mourned for days, and I continued fasting and praying before the God of heaven. Nehemiah is not a priest, but he knows how God deals with Israel. If they obey him, he blesses. If they go against his will, they twist in the wind. Nehemiah asks permission to make the long trek to Jerusalem to construct a big, beautiful border wall. And the king granted what I asked, for the good hand of my God was upon me. Once there, he inspects the fallen wall on horseback at night. And I told no one what my God had put into my heart to do for Jerusalem. 3 local troublemakers, Sanballat the Horonite, Tobiah the Ammonite, and Geshem the Arab, are particularly motivated to cause confusion. The rebuilding project begins section by section. The people recognize Nehemiah as their governor. Sanballat and Tobiah continue opposing the Jews. They plan resistance and violence. So Nehemiah instructs everyone to arm themselves with swords, spears, and bows. Do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your brothers, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your homes. They adopt the posture of working with one hand while the other hand holds their weapon. Over time, the poor people run out of money and resources to survive. The rich people take advantage of them and make them their slaves. Nehemiah puts an end to this vile practice. Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem continue their campaign of disinformation. They hire some prophets to lie to Nehemiah with the hope of luring him into the temple, thus violating God's command and destroying his good reputation. After only 52 days, the entire wall around Jerusalem is completed. It's revealed that Tobiah's influence comes from his marriage into a Jewish priest's family. It turns out many people had pledged an oath of allegiance to Tobiah. Can you say deep state? Nehemiah rediscovers the list of pioneer families who had returned to Jerusalem almost 100 years prior. Ezra, who's been in town the past 13 years, is called upon to teach the books of Moses to the people: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. As he opens the books, the people spontaneously stand out of reverence. 13 Levites circulate through the crowd to make sure they truly understand what they're hearing. No doubt, asking basic questions like, does this verse make sense to you? Is God speaking to you right now? If they answer yes, they inevitably begin weeping. Day 2 of the National Revival has them celebrating the Feast of Booths, where they live outside in flimsy, thin-walled huts for a week. Speaking from personal experience, having hiked the Appalachian Trail, the Continental Divide Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, the Israel National Trail, and many others. When you're out in nature for long periods of time, you are going to hear God's still small voice. I guarantee that. The Feast of Booths celebration flows into a national day of confession, where they remember their past when the nation first left Egypt, and they realize they and our fathers acted presumptuously and stiffened their neck and did not obey your commandments. They enter into a written covenant with God. They pledge to obey God's commands, to observe the Sabbath, and to make sure the temple functions properly. Lots are cast to reapportion the small population. 1 out of 10 people have to live in Jerusalem. The rest get to live in the surrounding towns. The magnificent wall is dedicated in an elaborate ceremony with 2 great choirs perched on its top. Nehemiah goes back to Persia to take care of business for a year. While he's away, Tobias's evil influence through intermarriage is revealed. Turns out he even had a room set aside for his personal use in the temple. More deep state uncovered. When Nehemiah returns, he explodes. I was very angry, and I threw out all the household furniture of Tobiah out of the chamber. Nehemiah then learns the Levites had not been paid. The people were working on the Sabbath, and more intermarriage had occurred, this time with the women of Ashdod, Ammon, and Moab. Some of their children didn't even know the Hebrew language. And I confronted them and cursed them and beat some of them and pulled out their hair. In each and every case, Nehemiah remedies the situation. His final words in the book, "Remember me, O my God, for good." Nehemiah is truly a man for all seasons, a warrior, a contractor, a governor, a facilitator, a benefactor, a negotiator, but best of all, a spiritual man devoted to doing God's will, whose quick one-line prayers are so refreshingly natural, they get the job done without fuss or fanfare. May we all find a bite-sized portion of Nehemiah to chew upon and to make as our own.